Hello, I'm Steve. Welcome to my channel. I made this small tray. It's made for holding 3 candles, but it equally well could be used as a needlecraft tray for pins and needles, that sort of thing. In this video, I show you how I made it. In the lathe today I have a piece of what I believe to be is mango. It's about 185mm in diameter and about 24mm thick. I've been asked to make a candle holder. The idea is that 3 candles will sit on the finished item and it's meant to look aesthetically pleasing. Let's hope I can succeed in that challenge. So without more ado, we'll get on with some turning. The first thing to do is to get this base level and to put a small tenon on the base here, which I may or may not turn off depending on how well it's received. So here we go. I'm only turning at about 600 revolutions per minute because I've got the cold jaws on. Well, that's the tenon done, and this base slightly lifted up towards the outer edge here. The tenon is about 2–2.5mm deep, and that's enough for what I need. I shall now flip it round, put it on the other jaws, and then bring the thing to round, maximising on the diameter that I can get from this piece of wood. There you are. I'm turning at about 1200 revolutions per minute. I'm using a 1/2 inch spindle gouge, which I'll use to bring the piece of wood to round. Once I've done that, then we can look at the next steps. These sides are going to finish vertical, so I don't want to take too much off, so I need to maximise the diameter. Just a bit of a flat spot there and there, so I'm going to take off probably another millimetre and a half, absolute maximum, and we'll be good. Yeah, almost there. Right, that's nicely rounded. The side is square to the what will be the top. I now need to level this out, and then I've got to cut away another timber. I'll just use that using the spindle gouge. The grade's doing something interesting in the middle there. Can't quite see what it is. Well, whatever it is, it seems to have sorted itself out. It's very dusty. So it's roughly down to the size that I've been requested to make this. I've actually stopped at about 10mm deep, maybe 11. I've been asked to make it 1.5. I'm not sure that that will look quite right, given what I was originally shown. Anyway, I need to see if the base is flat, and I use a piece of wood which has got various different lengths and sizes to it so that it fitted various things. And it needs the hump in the middle here to be removed. So I'm going to remove that. I'll then take it off the chuck and take it and ask if it's what's required. Unfortunately, I've just noticed something which wasn't apparent in the wood when I selected it, and that's a crack here, which doesn't look very good at all. And that might account for some of the funny squealing noises that I got when I was I hadn't noticed this when I was bringing the sides two round. I noticed there was a funny sort of squealing noise, and I hadn't picked up the fact that there's this crack in here, and it's quite dirty, so it looks as if it's been there for some time. So I may well have to start over with another piece of wood. I don't like using CA glue to hold things together, and it doesn't look as if a resin glue will be able to get in there. Well, maybe it will. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'll get this level, get an opinion on it, and we'll take it from there. I'm just going to raise the tool rest up a bit so that I can get a nice corner in here, and I only want this very edge rubbing on it and not the side, so I need to raise it up a bit so that it doesn't get pushed across towards the middle. Just a little bit to tidy up down there, and I think that's probably about it. I'll give that a bit of a sand on the inside, using a 180 grit paper and a block of wood so that the base remains flat and I don't create a dip in the centre. Well, the crack isn't an issue. I've put some CA glue in there. There's not going to be any forces on this, and it's not going to be holding food, so that's acceptable. It doesn't look too bad. This area across here that I was using a scraper on, there were some hard bits of material in there. I don't know if you can see it, but here, this piece was quite hard. There was another piece further over. There's a piece there, and they were quite hard. It didn't like being scraped there, but the rest of it scraped quite well. Anyway, it's down to the depth that's required. I've now got to flip it round because I've got to make the tenon on the back slightly smaller. But there you are. I've given this a squirt over with methylated spirit, having sanded it up to 400 grits. I'll flip it around, put it in the cold jaws, and do very much the same then. But before that, I will put a finish on this, and we can have a look at this face thereafter. I'm going to wax it. I use Par's beeswax oil. It's linseed oil and beeswax, and it gives it a nice finish. Those spots that I mentioned in here, Yeah, it kept taking the burr off. It didn't like it, the burr on the scraper. Anyway, that looks right. I shall leave that a second or two and remove some of the excess, but I'll give it some time to soaking first. So just a little bit of work to do on the base. The tenon isn't liked. The mortise is acceptable. I'm just going to turn a slight dovetail on the mortise so that if I do need to chuck it, and I can't see any reason why I might, but in case I have to, I'm just going to cut a little dovetail under here. And that's it, the jaws will now expand into that. It holds it quite well already, but I just wanted to emphasise this. Right, now to remove the unwanted tenon. We'll see how that scrapes. There is a piece of that strange wood in there. It might not like it at this rev speed of only 600 revolutions per minute. No, I think I shall use the spindle gouge. I've only been woodturning for a couple of years, and I tend to watch Raffan, Richard Findley, Tomislav, Tomasic and Steve Jones, who know how to turn wood and are experts in the field. They really are people that you need to go and watch to find out how to use these tools correctly, sharpen them, all sorts of things. Mine have information, and they've been extremely helpful to me. Well, I'm going to sand that. You really don't want to watch someone sanding. I'll come back when I've done that and put a finish on it, and we can look at the final piece. Well, there's the finished piece. I will put some stills up at the end of the video. If you've enjoyed, if you'd liked, please like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. There it is from the base. There's some chatoyance in there. It's not ever so evident at the moment, but there is some there. Alright. The finished piece is 183mm in diameter. It's 22.5mm high, and the tray here is 12mm deep. Nice little piece, and hopefully it is liked without its tenon. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Look at the stills at the end. Thank you. Bye-bye.